Okay, I'm going to try and explain how to rework some hooks. Friends of mine have asked me to make them some hooks. They want to tie a couple of flies, and with the lockdown it's quite difficult to get hold of overseas hooks, to buy directly from the suppliers. I've been reworking hooks for the last 3 years, purely because I enjoy it, and I've always donated or given some to my mates. And yeah, so these guys have asked me to make some more. They're pretty bored during this lockdown, so they want to wear some feathers on a hook and take it from there. So the hooks that I like using are your sprout hooks. They've got a nice section where you can work a nice deep gutter into it over there. These are the hooks that I use, by the way. It was generously given to me by a Facebook friend. Took 7 months to get here from the States because of the lockdown, but it arrived. So I thought it would be a good time to use them, and I'd also like to send him some as well. So these are obviously, they're ringed. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I cut that ring off the eye. I cut that off because when we tie the salmon flies, we use blind eye hooks, because we're going to use substitute silkworm gut. This is my substitute silkworm gut. We tie that underneath, and that's what we use. So like I said, first thing, cuts off the eye. Second thing, I'm going to work on a gutter. I think it looks really nice to have a gutter, and I believe it does serve a purpose. And then taper down the eye, the point, the shank over there. Okay, I've just zoomed in a little bit just to show. So when we work a gutter, well, when I work a gutter, from that little section there, and not all the way, you don't need much, just so you can see the gutter, so it looks quite nice. And I just work it from an angle. This that I'm using over here, by the way, is just a little vise, a little old Snowby vise that I've adapted with a Dremel chuck over there. So it holds it nice and secure. It also turns nice and true, so when I do work, you don't get these funny little angles. And when I work at it, I'm not going to show the whole thing, but it takes me about 5-10 minutes to work it. I'm sure you don't want to watch me work on this for 10 minutes. I just hold it there, and I'm just going to work on that section. Okay, it's also quite unstable with the camera, so I'm going to turn it off, and then when I'm done, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've done the gutter. I don't know if you guys can see it clearly there. Yeah, the light's a bit bad, but in any case, I'm sure you can get the gist of it. So that I do on both sides. Oh, I did it on both sides. Try and zoom in there. As you can see, it's not a hell of a lot that I've taken off, but you can clearly see there is a gutter. This little piece of equipment that I'm using over here is a jeweler's clamp, by the way. You can buy from any jeweler supply shop, and it actually comes in very handy. Protects your hands, your fingers when you're busy working on it. You don't have to have it. I'm a gadget guy, so I like little gadgets, and it comes very handy. So if you don't want to do it in your vise, which I have over there, you can see, just use this and get in there and file away. Okay, so next up will be the point and the bob. You can see the light's a little bit better now, so you can see my guts over there, by the way. You don't want to bend that down with the pliers. I believe in how they actually get that little S shape in the point and the barb over there is you file from underneath. Not too thin, obviously, but I like to make mine a little bit thinner, just so it gives a bit of a different profile. Yeah, you don't want to bend that down. It looks funny. It's not supposed to look like that. And then I'm going to use this half moon. You can see the shape of it. So it's flat over there in half moon shape. And I'm going to work at it from this angle, and then a little bit at the top. And then when I'm done, I'll show you guys. I thought, let me try and angle the camera in a way that you guys can see. I actually do this. Start from the top. So that's where we're going to get the S shape and the barb. apart from the point there. Don't have to take off a hell of a lot. You just make it the way you want to. You know, like I said, I'm not going to fish with this, so I want to make a nice hook for my next fly. I'm still deciding if I want to blue this or Japan it, depending on this fly. Usually I think about what fly I want to tie, and then I try and make a hook to match the fly, whether it's a blued or Japanned. I'll show you guys how to do it Japanning and how to blue a hook as well. So once I've decided what I want to do with this hook, I'll show you, I'll record it. So I'm going to work on this, so now you can see how I do it, and then show you when it's done. Okay, so there you can see the end product. You can see I've taken off a little bit at the top over there. Nothing too much, just to give it a little bit of a profile. It's profile that I like. And next up will be tapering of the shank. I'm going to plug in my Dremel tool and then show you guys what I do there. Okay, let's get going with the Dremel tool. Again, what you're looking for is just a bit of a taper down at the front here. So, safety first. Whole pair of cycling glasses works for me, and just a little grinding stone at the front. So because I've cut that off over there, it leaves quite a nasty little sharp section there, so I'm just going to grind that off quickly. See, it's moving around in my chuck over here. Tighten that up. Try again. And I'm going to start working the taper. Get it in nice and square. Right, there we go. Majority of that is off now with a Dremel, and then from here on outwards I'm just going to work with it with this file to get it nice and even, and then from there I'll work with a jeweler's file, and I'll show you when it's done. So as you can see, that's the before and that's the after. Let's try and get in there a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is I actually quite like a Phillips bend in my hooks. So I've made a Phillips jig, and I'm going to show you how that works. There are many different ways of doing it. I like the way I'm doing mine. It works for me. So yeah, let me show you what that looks like. So this is my jig that I make. It's just an aluminium block. I stencil the Phillips shape or whatever, Harrison Bartlett, whatever you want. Stencil it on there, cuts the sword away, and then just cuts a little groove in the front here, or at the top. That just prevents the hook from slipping out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to stick that in there, push that down. Now I believe that to get a nice even bend in your hooks, you need to get pressure from the outside. You can't just pull it. And then all I'm going to do now is push that down, that will definitely have changed the shape of my hook. These mustards, they're not properly tempered. They're quite soft, so you can bend them. You don't have to temper and anneal and go all overboard with this. But that's the shape, and I'm sure you can almost see the difference. And now I'm just going to sand it off, get it nice and smooth, and I think I'm actually going to blue this hook. So now that I've decided that I'm going to blue the hook, it's quite important to get a very smooth finish on the hook. So what I use is a 1200 grit water paper, and I'm just going to work on the whole hook until all the bronzing has been taken off, especially on the front where it's from the filing, it's still a little bit of scratches on it, but I'll start here at the back and just try and get all that copper off, all the bronze color, whatever the coloring on the hook is. Slow process. I'm in no rush to finish this hook in 5 minutes. You can do it. Am I going over the top? Probably. But like I said in the beginning, I really enjoy this. It's relaxing for me. I'm gonna put expensive feathers on here, so might as well spend my time and make the hook look nice. So work until you've got all the coloring of the hook off here. In the front, make sure that there are absolutely no scratches on the entire hook, because with the bluing, whenever you blue, you are going to see those scratches if you haven't taken it out. So I'm going to finish this and then obviously get back to you guys. I forgot to mention, there's obviously a much quicker way to get the color off of the hook. Just take it out the vise, obviously, put it down on a piece of wood, that's what I do, and work at it. See how it's coming off. Again, obviously I'm not going to sit here the whole 5 minutes is going to take me to do this, so enjoy. I'll get back to you. Alright, so here's the before and after. As you can see, all the colouring has been sanded off. There's a slight little shape change there. It's not much. The nice thing about this hook is almost very similar to a Phillips pen. It just needed like a little bit extra at the top there. So yeah, so now that you've handled this, obviously you're going to have a lot of oils from your hands, and so before we can blue this or even Japan it, we're going to have to dunk it in a bit of acetone. I usually just put it in a bottle, a glass jar, and it'll stay in there for half an hour or so to an hour. Don't leave it in for too long, because it can even rust in acetone. So yeah, don't leave it for too long, and leave that for half an hour or so, and then we'll blue this hook. Right, so it's been in for about 45 minutes or so, and I'm going to take it out. So I just made a little hook, so there's they are inside there, and you don't want to touch this at all with your hands from here on out, from here onwards. Take it out. Can't exactly see holding the camera and trying to get the hook out here. I made another one while this was in the acetone, the first one. I just quickly made another one. It took me about 5 minutes, and there it is. So I've got two hooks, well, in case one's a screw up. So I'm going to let this dry, and then I'll blue it. So now the next step is to start the whole bluing process. So those are the hooks that are left in acetone. I didn't manage to do the hooks directly after the last video that I made, so this is now the following day. It's not a problem. This was wrapped up in this serviette over here, and I just sealed it in a container. From here, I'm going to put it onto this. It's just a normal cast iron pot or little pan or whatever it is that you can get, or if you want you can even just put it straight onto the stove itself. I prefer doing it in this. And then this is your rendered fat, or what they would call in the old days tallow. Well, I suppose they call it now tallow as well. So step one, I'm going to take that hook and place it in there, and then you'll see how the color actually starts changing. So now this has obviously been going for a while. I turned it on about 5 minutes ago, and you can see how the color is changing. So you're going to wait till you get to the optimal color. So it's going to go through different colors, and there you can see it's slowly getting the blue, going, and you'll have enough time to take it off as you get to the color that you want. That looks about right, that I want. Take it off and straight into that tallow. Next one. So the tallow is there to seal in the color and to prevent rust. You can also use normal cooking oil or whatever you have available. I'm just following this because it's what they used in the old days. In fact, in the old days, Black, I read he used an iron, what they used to iron their clothes with. And you can see this one's going really nice. And there's my color right there, and straight in. Okay. So I'm going to leave that in there for a minute or so. I'm going to clean that off, and then I'll show you what it looks like at the end. So here's the final product. I want to show you what happens if you don't get all the oil off your hook. So this one I obviously rushed a little bit. This is the second one I made, and you can see that spot over there. You can see it looks like a little bit of an oil slick, like the color didn't take. And that is usually what happens if you've still got some oil left over from your fingers on the hook, and then you dunk it in, or then you put it in on the hot sauce. But this one came out really nice. I'm very happy with this one. You can see it's a nice deep blue color. The longer you leave it, it will eventually go back to a silver color. You can Google the temperatures of iron, and what the correct temperature is. The light over here doesn't give any justice, but you can see a nice deep blue color. So I really hope this has helped someone. If you have any questions, you're very welcome to post a message, and then I'll try and answer. You can see the gut over there of the hook. Yeah, really happy with this one. Ready to tie a fly on it. Enjoy, guys. It's not that difficult. You'll definitely mess up on a couple of hooks in the beginning, but you will eventually get the hang of it. It really is not that difficult. Thank you for watching.